All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. We're gonna dive into it because, yes, we're gonna put it right there so that way I don't have to keep like showing you guys, but there it is. So All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. I will always pick up any book by her because I love her. I do. I fell in love with her writing with Ember in the Ashes. It freaking wrecked my whole life and it's something I still think about today, and I will always read what she writes. Matter of fact, I just pre-ordered not too long ago her next book, Air. So like H-E-I-R, like air. If you have not read Ember in the Ashes series, do it. Chef's kiss. It's beautiful, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So this book has brought up a lot of controversy, and I can see why as I read it. I will say though that I think it's controversy that needs to be talked about. It's controversy for all the right reasons, and I'll explain more here in just a second. So the trigger warnings include repressed SA trauma, addiction, substance abuse, things like that, racism, unaliving, but not self-unaliving, and physical abuse in a couple of different aspects. So one of the things that I really love about Sabaa Tahir is that she writes with so much emotion, whether it's anger or grief or sadness or happiness or whatever, you're gonna feel all of that in the book. Sabaa beautifully weaves a story of deep emotional trauma, grief, heartbreaking loss, and rage. I will say that some people think that it's a negative aspect of the book, that she touches on so many things, so many topics in this book, but I will say that that's not necessarily a drawback for me. It's not a drawback for me for more than one reason. One, because there are a lot of different people in this book, and it really shows how one life connects to another. It also shows how one choice or multiple choices can affect another person. But the biggest thing for me is the fact that there is not just one shitty shit that happens to a person and that's it. That's the only thing that they go through in their whole entire life. That's just not real. So yes, there's a lot of things going on, but that is real. That's real life. You know, when someone is in any type of addiction, a lot of things are gonna come with that, right? If a person has SA trauma, a lot of other shit is gonna happen because of that. And I think that she does a really good job of depicting that. It's a lot of words. I say a lot of that, but yes. Our main character is from Pakistan, and she comes over after she loses everything. Her uncle comes and gets her, and she is uprooted from her entire life, her entire culture, and brought to the United States, where she doesn't speak a lick of English, and people are assholes, and so much more. And she has to deal with that. Then we have our male main character who is going through the loss of his mother. And then we have this little voice in the background that we're getting to know, and she's great. But how all of these lives interchangeably connect. I love that Sabaa Tahir tackled SA, but with a male. I don't feel like that is spoken about enough. I feel like it is a huge faux pas for a man to come forward and say, this happened to me. I do not feel like that's spoken about enough, and she handled that beautifully. I think it created a safe space for men to be able to come up and say, hey, this happened to me, or to at least feel connected to a character that they can relate to if that's something that has happened. And you don't see that in books. My favorite quote in the entire fucking book, because it is so good, and I feel this within my whole soul, is, I wonder what it's like to be with someone who can love you through your rage. I love that, because like, love you through your messy, right? Love you through your anger and your sadness and your grief and your happiness. Love you through the ugly. Anyway, I really did enjoy this book, and I think, like I said, it's controversy for all the right reasons. People don't like it because it touches on subjects that they're uncomfortable with. Talk about them so we won't be uncomfortable with them. People had an issue with the fact that all this stuff is happening to 18-year-olds, when in reality, if we want to be real serious and real with each other, I mean, a lot of that stuff I was walking through at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, okay, and younger. So to sit there and say, oh, we shouldn't let our kids read something like that because we don't want to put that in their minds, when in reality, like, if somebody's going through something, a child is more likely to suppress that shit, especially if they're not in a healthy environment, and continue letting bad shit happen to them instead of speaking up and saying something. And books like this give them an outlet to say, hey, I need to find a safe space. I need to say something to somebody. I want to feel heard, and I want to feel like someone is listening. And I feel like that book does a good job of that, and I don't understand why people are so upset about it. Actually, I think people are upset about it because they haven't dealt with their own trauma. So, I can only say that because I'm dealing with my own trauma, okay? Anyway, I know this video was long, but Sabaa Tahir, I desire to write like you one day. Okay. Love you, support you.